What if this is the final flicker of a dynasty that once set the basketball world ablaze? The last notes of a symphony that captivated millions and redefined an era. What if? Right here and now, in June 2025, we are witnessing the solemn closing act of the Golden State Warriors' golden age. The news struck like thunder, leveling the hopes of the blue and gold faithful. Kevin Durant, the very architect of their most luminous triumphs, was traded, yet not to the expected sanctuary of Chase Center, but to the red-hot rebirth of the Houston Rockets. Confirmed exclusively by ESPN's Shams Charania, this seismic trade wasn't just a transaction. It was the shattering of a dream, the death knell to the long-mulled fantasy of reuniting Curry and Durant on the same hardwood battleground. For years, whispers had warmed fans' hearts, tantalizing them with the possibility of a reunion forged in fire and championships. But with Durant now donning the Rockets' colors, that fragile hope has dissolved into cold reality. Durant, once the indomitable pillar of one of the most dominant runs in NBA history, the two-time Finals MVP whose dazzling partnership with Curry reshaped the fabric of modern basketball, now embarks on a new odyssey with a rebuilding squad. A bittersweet passage not just for him, but for the Warriors and their legion of supporters alike. From 2016 through 2019, Durant was much more than a player. He was the embodiment of the dynasty's soul, the linchpin in the juggernaut that amassed rings and rewrote what was thought possible on a basketball court. But today, that chapter is closed. The hopeful spark smothered what once was a legendary alliance has been replaced by uncertainty, a vacuum at the heart of a franchise grappling with time's brutal march and the fragility of glory. Meanwhile, Durant's former team, the Phoenix Suns, have stumbled into mediocrity, a stark contrast to the promise they once held with Beal and Booker leading the charge. 36 wins, 46 losses, and no playoffs in sight, a dissolution signaled by the firing of Mike Budenholzer and a painful pivot toward youth and draft picks. Durant, at 36, though still a phenomenal individual talent, became a movable piece, valuable yet expendable in shaping a future that now feels as fluid and unpredictable as a thunderstorm. The Rockets, in turn, acquired Durant, Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, plus the 10th pick in the 2025 draft and 5 future second-round picks, a calculated masterstroke, a declaration that the Warriors' era of stars has officially expired, that the dynasty's golden light has faded. For Golden State, this trade punctuates the end of a dream. For Durant, it's a new quest, perhaps the final chapter before trading the sneakers for something else. So here we stand, Golden State caught in limbo between the past shimmering achievements and a future clouded with questions. Steph Curry, still magical, but closing in on 36, remains the team's lodestar, while young hopefuls like Kuminga have yet to fill the cavernous void left by departed legends. Time's unforgiving countdown hangs heavy in the front office. Act boldly now, or be consigned to watch the dynasty flicker out in melancholy. But out of these shadows, a daring possibility emerges, a rumor once dismissed, but now pulsing with growing electricity in NBA quarters. Could the Greek freak himself, Giannis Antetokounmpo, be making his way to San Francisco? A move as audacious as it is complex. A move demanding sacrifices that cut deep into Warriors' lore, a mega trade involving for teams that would shake the foundations of the Western Conference and redefine the franchise's trajectory. This tangled web of deals would see Giannis entering the blue and gold, while the Lakers acquired Draymond Green and Daniel Gafford. The Mavericks received Gabe Vincent and key draft assets, and the Bucks, forced to part with their modern icon, land a package featuring Kuminga, Austin Reeves, rotational role players like Pajewski and Jackson Davis, plus multiple first-round draft picks. It might read like a Hollywood script, yet in its strategic contours lies the potential for rebirth. Giannis, the 2021 NBA champion, two-time MVP, still in his prime at 29, would slot seamlessly into the Warrior system. His raw power, unparalleled agility, and relentless work ethic pairing with Steph Curry's cerebral genius and Jimmy Butler's combative fire to forge a trio capable of enthralling the league anew. This wouldn't be mere rebuilding, it would be reinvention, a new Warriors, armed with championship pedigree, energy, and the raw hunger to reclaim the throne. But the price of such a gamble cannot be ignored. Handing over Draymond Green won't just rob Golden State of its defensive engine and emotional heartbeat. It will fracture the identity of a team whose very DNA is intertwined with Green's voice and spirit. Coupled with the departure of Kuminga, the only youthful beacon still radiating promise, And the loss of Pajewski and Jackson Davis, the bench would become perilously thin, a critical risk in a league where depth often determines destiny. And mortgaging multiple first-round picks is, in essence, selling future hope for present glory. But make no mistake, the present is all that matters for Steph Curry now. His legend is etched in the annals of basketball history. But even legends face the cruel reality of time. At his career twilight demands that he have a fighting chance to lift another crown. Jimmy Butler, a hardened veteran hungry for a final title, could be the perfect complementary force, relentless, gritty, and willing to do whatever it takes. And Giannis, majestic, focused, ferocious, represents the bridge between past and future, the physical and emotional force that could order this fresh chapter with a commanding presence. Imagine Curry darting through defenses, orchestrating. Like a maestro, Giannis bulldozing lanes with unstoppable momentum, Butler sparking fierce intensity on every possession. The basketball world would not only witness a team that can win, but a team that intimidates. A trio of legends converging for one last, fiery act of defiance against the fading of their dynasty. Yet, even as the imagination soars, doubts gnaw. Beneath the surface, what if the chemistry never coalesces? What if injuries gnarl the fragile balance? What if the Trinity's salaries choke out the ability to add crucial role players? The West shows no mercy, Denver's juggernaut, Minnesota's ironclad defense, the burgeoning threat of a Rockets team refreshed by Durant and Beal, the Lakers' enduring prowess with LeBron and AD, and Oklahoma City's rising young core, all loom large. To keep pace, Golden State must dare. Hesitation means obscurity. The Chase Center atmosphere palpably trembles with tension. Once thunderous roars have morphed into uneasy murmurs, a restlessness that whispers, "Are the best days behind us?" This is why the potential arrival of Giannis is more than a trade-it, is a chance for resurrection, a lifeline tossed mid-storm, a phoenix rising from ashes heavy with sacrifice and hope. Picture the playoffs, Curry threading impossible passes, Giannis slicing the paint like a force of nature, Butler locked onto the opposition's fiercest stars with unapologetic ferocity. The Warriors' signature fluid offense now fortified with brutal physicality and unyielding defensive might. The rotation may be leaner, but if managed with skill, the ferocity compensates in spades. But the question lingers heavy, will it be worth it? This is no mere season-defining choice, but a crossroads that could shape the very identity of the franchise for years to come. The Warriors have pulled off comebacks before, defying expectations and overcoming adversity, but now time itself is the fiercest adversary, quickening each heartbeat, magnifying every decision. And within those hallowed executive rooms beats one imperative: to do right by Steph Curry. He is no ordinary player. He has been the face, the revolutionary spirit who reshaped basketball's DNA. Yet his last years risk being wasted if denied a real shot at another ring. Thus, the trade for Giannis transcends basketball. It is an act of justice, a wreath laid on the legacy of a living legend, a refusal to let the flame die quietly. To see Curry's eyes light up once more under the final spotlight, to watch his artistry soar alongside newfound allies, might justify the gamble despite the gaping risks. And yet, this story is far from settled should the trade fall through. Golden State might stumble on, caught in the painful purgatory of aging stars and unproven youth, with another early playoff exit looming like an ominous shadow. Or worse, the deal could happen but falter, leaving behind a ragged roster drained of depth and financial flexibility, cursed with a bloated cap and years of rebuilding ahead. The split pass all win through uncertainty, yet greatness has never come to those who play safe. Boldness defines the Warriors' DNA. Audacity bought titles and rewrote the game. Could they summon it once again, daring to gamble tomorrow? For one final blaze of glory, the true stakes could not be higher. Stretching beyond players into symbols, Draymond Green is more than a defender. He is the heartbeat, the emotional core of the dynasty. To lose him is to sever a living connection between the past and the future, a wrenching blow to the fans and the team alike. Still, new eras demand sacrifice. Basketball evolution waits for no tradition. Giannis' arrival would carry not only technical prowess, but a message, a loud declaration that the Warriors still hunger, still believe, and still aim to etch their name atop the NBA summit, with Curry not only revered as a legend, but wielded as a weapon forged anew. Alongside Butler's spark, intense, unyielding, a cultural leader, the trio would symbolize the fusion of calm genius, brute force, and relentless tenacity. the recipe to ignite a new dynasty capable of seizing history once more. On court, Giannis's influence would ripple across every facet the rebounding woes addressed. Transition offense turbocharged, defensive versatility broadened, offensive schemes expanded. The Warriors' offense, once famed for elegance and grace, would now wield lethal, brutal power. But nuanced as this vision is, it drags with it the gravity of risk sacrifices of youth, draft capital, and depth that might leave the franchise vulnerable should fortune not favor them. The West's powerhouses wait ravenous, ready to pounce on faltering giants. Yet within the maelstrom emerges one more thread, a surprise twist that transcends star-studded signings and blockbuster trades. A young Filipino center named Kai Sotto, standing tall at the 0.16 meters, carrying the hopes of a nation and the promise of a new cultural bridge between the Warriors and the vibrant Asian communities of the Bay Area. Kai Sotto is no ordinary prospect, blending traditional big man skills with modern versatility. His game spans rim protection, mid-range arsenals, and court vision uncommon for his stature. His journey through leagues in Japan and Australia has shown glimpses of his potential. But the NBA remains a daunting crucible requiring adaptation, resilience, and unyielding will. Yet the magic lies not only in basketball, it is the cultural resonance that his signing would ignite, bringing newfound representation to one of the largest Filipino diasporas outside Manila, fostering unity and pride in a community long hungry for recognition on basketball's grandest stage. Imagine Chase Center reverberating with cheers in Tagalog, Philippine flags waving proudly. This would not merely be a sporting milestone, but a cultural celebration, a symbol of inclusion and diversity that expands the Warriors' legacy beyond wins and losses. Commercially, Kai Sotto's presence could open doors to Asian markets, enhancing global reach and connecting the franchise to passionate new audiences. But amid the promise looms reality's harsh glare every minute on the Warriors. Roster demands immediate impact or clear developmental trajectory. Kai must adapt quickly to NBA's elite pace, physicality, and tactical demands, demonstrating defensive savvy, conditioning, and relentless focus, all under the crucible of high expectations and cutthroat competition. Yet if his hunger for growth and resilience endure as the journey so far suggests, he may carve a unique place in this new Warriors chapter, eventually standing alongside other young talents as a cornerstone of a team reborn. The combination of Curry's fading brilliance, Butler's ferocity, Giannis's prime power, and Kai Sotto's burgeoning promise weaves a narrative of hope, peril, and the eternal human thirst for greatness rewritten through sacrifice, risk, and audacious vision. So Warriors fans, are you ready to embrace the storm ahead? To witness a franchise that refuses to settle for fading into history, choosing instead to gamble everything on one last masterpiece with Durant and Beal? They aren't just postseason participants, they're deadly contenders. Meanwhile, the Warriors face the specter of dwindling bench strength, with Pajiski and Jackson Davis gone and their rotation thin as a razor's edge. What if fatigue and injuries steal precious minutes and momentum? Kyrie's genius might offset some of that, but can even he conjure magic with depleted depth and a roster packed with new egos and expectations? Chemistry, that's the million-dollar question. Curry and Draymond's symbiosis fueled championships, but now Draymond's half of that yin-yang will ignite a rival team. Can Giannis slide into this new alloy of stars? Will Butler, fueled by relentless hunger and career-best defense, rise to become the bridge between them? Or will egos clash, ball movements stall, and the elegant Warriors' offense that once dazzled become a disjointed fight for space? The undercurrents in the locker room, the whispers of instability, the weight pressing on Kyrie's shoulders. This is a pressure cooker. Fans, some wrestling fatigue after years of near misses and playoff heartbreaks, wonder if this seismic shift is the last desperate swing or doomed from the start. For Curry, though, none of this is just basketball. It's legacy etched deep by 3 rings and countless clutch moments, but haunted by the question, does he get to lead one more title run or watch the dynasty crumble from the front row? Even with all the youth and potential on the rise, Moody pushing for minutes, Kuminga flashing flashes, and the promising shadow of Kai Sotto, the Filipino center whose journey from Japan to Australia to now the NBA isn't just inspiring, but could herald a cultural revolution and global fan expansion. Everything feels so fragile, so brilliantly poised yet precarious. Kai Sotto might be the wild card whose unique skill set and cultural resonance breathe new life into Dub Nation. But can he become the steady rock in a roster reshaped overnight? From Oracle to Chase Center, From gold banners hanging high to trades that stripped the team bare, history echoes loudly, we believe brought hope from despair. The KD era dazzled with sheer dominance. Klay's comeback game reignited belief, but this feels like the most gut-wrenching test yet. What if Kyr's system fractures without Draymond's defensive anchor? What if Giannis fits like a glove, transforming offenses and defenses alike, lifting the Warriors back into the throne room? What if none of it matters against a West so stacked that even a perfect Warriors team looks like underdogs? The stakes are astronomical, mortgaging multiple first-round picks, sending youth away, stretching salary caps to the brink. This isn't a move for the faint-hearted. It's a declaration that Golden State isn't fading quietly. This is an audacious bid for immortality, a fight against the inevitable. Imagine playoff nights pulsing with new energy, opposing coaches scrambling to counter the thunderbolt attack unleashed by Curry's precision, Giannis's relentless force, and Butler's grit. What if it all collapses? If the delicate balance is lost, the future could darken for years. Yet, as someone who screamed for Baron Davis, who wept alongside Klay Thompson's comeback tears, and has watched Steph become the greatest shooter alive, while clawing through injury and time's relentless march, I can't help but believe maybe even now, in the shadow of all these huge risks, lies the seed of a resurrection that only the brave dare chase. So now, it's your call. Pour it out in the comments. Tell me what you're thinking, what you're feeling: anger, hope, fear, excitement, doubt. No holding back. I'll be right there with you, riding every wave. Because if this is the last great gamble, then Dub Nation deserves to scream into the storm together and nothing less than glory.